to show up on my website.
Oh, an image tag?
We could, but it's overkill because it's text, an emoji. So we can just use like,
for me, it was Control Command Spacebar on a Mac, or copy and paste it.
yeah, I'm just going to do the frog emoji right here. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So this will give me 1, right? And I can get 3 more pretty easily by just copying this. Okay, that's fine. How can I make these bigger, Paul? How can I make them bigger?
Font size, I don't know, try 20 pixel.
Yeah, but how do I write that CSS?
All right. So we want to do the link. If we type the link in, it should give us the...
Today I'm going to stick with the style tag just so all the code's right here. Yeah.
So we'll do span, curly braces, and then font size. Maybe try 20 pixel and see what it looks like. Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, very nice. Now, the goal is, so here's kind of like our website, right? And I want these frogs evenly spread out on the top. Maybe we're working on a nav bar, you know, with like home, about, contact us. These frogs can represent any content, basically. Yeah. So using non-Flexbox, can anyone brainstorm a way that we can get those frogs spaced the way we want? It kind of in the middle, well, not really in the middle, just evenly across the top.
Margin auto.
Okay, on the span or what?
Yeah.
Okay, let's try it. Okay, didn't work for us exactly. Other ideas?
Width 100%.
With what?
100%. Would I get and then I'm not sure how you would. No.
Other ideas? It's your first day at startup, right? And this is what your boss wants. These evenly spaced frogs. What are on?
Would text align center work?
We can try. Nah, nothing. Let's make sure that we're even targeting this correctly. Yeah. Okay. I love turning on background colors on the elements I'm trying to play with, just so I can see what's going on. Okay. Any other ideas? All we have to do is get them spaced evenly, right? Doesn't seem that crazy.
Can you just do it with margins?
Do we need to put
Sure. What margin though?
Like a margin of 20 on the first span and then like 20 on the next one.
Well, the span is targeting all of them.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on.
We could target them individually, but would that really accomplish anything for us? So maybe we'll do 100, right? Or 50. And that's almost good. And maybe we could like play with it until it looks good. But then the thing is, as soon as I move my screen, it's not going to be good anymore, right? Anyway, does anyone have any final ideas?
Text align, justify?
Go ahead, Demi.
Maybe text align and justify?
So text align, sure, but justify is part of Flexbox, so we're holding off on that because the whole challenge is without Flexbox.
Would you wrap them in a div, the spans, and do something on the div?
Do what to the div? Sure, we can We can absolutely wrap them in a div.
I was thinking of the width 100% again, so that you're using the whole screen, but I don't know how. I suppose then you could use the margins again. I don't know.
So you want to
Is
make the
this-
div width 100%?
Yes, but
Okay. Let's see if that even worked. Yep.
yeah, so it's using that, isn't it? It's just moving them across now.
You can use text align on the div.
Text align center. Yeah. Okay. Getting way closer, right?
Is display flex still considered Flexbox?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And we're getting kind of close. Any other ideas?
So now could we use margins?
What about margin auto?
That's pretty damn good, right? You might be happy with that. And it stays kind of good, except what?
It is not responsive.
Yeah, I thought the challenge was that they're spaced evenly. This space is way more than this space. So we got closer than I thought we would. I got a little nervous there. The point is, you could do this. It's just very hard without Flexbox. So today, the whole point is we're going to be using Flexbox, right, to accomplish this. So with Flexbox, this becomes very, very easy, right? So I'm going to take away the margin. We don't need that. And I'm going to take away the width 100%. We don't need that. So now, with the magic of Flexbox, what did you learn from the pre-work? What is Flexbox? Dennis?
It's you can use Flexbox to like make it easier to like center images and stuff.
Yeah. Control the layout of elements. That's really all it does. It's a part of CSS module that we already get for free. Any other words on Flexbox from the pre-work? What it is, what it does for us?
It is a tool to position elements on the web page one-dimensionally.
Yeah. Position, layout. Yep. Okay, now for our challenge. We still want these frogs like in your number 5 challenge. Because you see how number 5, the space, I don't know if that space is even. I don't think so, huh? Anyway, that's the challenge we set out to do. We want the space to be even always around the frogs. So using Flexbox now, how can we do this? ZO2?
I'm trying to remember which one it is. I think it's space between, but I think it might be align content.
Yes, but when we want to use, there's some homework, right?
Yeah. So you've got to do display flex.
Display flex on the parent container of the items you want to control. So this is a little strange. We want to control the spans, but we're going to look to the parent container to do most of the control. And that's kind of peculiar, right? So here, like ZO2 said, we're going to do display flex. This is to tell CSS we want to use Flexbox. And now, what do you want to do? How do we get them spaced evenly? Rizwan?
Oh, by default, the flex direction is row.
Yes, by default, the flex direction is a row.
So we will flex items, I think, space evenly.
Not quite. No, not quite. Anyone else?
Justify content with the space evenly.
Yeah. So we're going to use justified content. And then the question is, well, we'll come back to that. And then we're going to do space evenly. So we have all these choices, and you can play with the different ones. But we set out to do space evenly. So what is justified content, right? Flexbox property that controls the layout of the main axis. And by default, the main axis is horizontal. You can switch this though, using flex direction. Yeah, any questions on that? Using Flexbox to get our froggies laid out correctly.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
For stuff like Flexbox, is it more beneficial to have like a solid overview of the whole thing? Like, is this stuff that we should memorize or be comfortable looking up?
So yeah, that's a great question. So my philosophy is learn the very fundamentals, the simplest fundamentals, and then as you need to use that tool, learn how to look things up in the docs.
Okay. And I mean, from my experience, Flexbox is like something I should know. I mean, is that as we get further along, is this going to be as relevant?
Oh yeah, yeah. This will be with us the whole course. After this week, styling becomes like optional, encouraged, like extra credit kind of, because there's so much else to functionally to think about. But you either have to learn Flexbox or Grid to successfully, be able to make a website. So, yeah. Okay, I'm going to make the height of this container a little bit bigger just to see for the next challenge. Because the next challenge I want to do is number 4. So how can we get those frogs kind of vertically aligned like that? Yeah.
Flex direction column.
What was that?
Flex direction column.
Yeah, on which selector?
On the div.
Yeah, so again, we're controlling the children from the parent, which is weird. And we're using flex direction, which changes the axis. So by default, it's row, and we're going to do column. Okay. I forgot we had this text align. Let me delete that. Yeah. Yeah, that's all we needed to do, right? Yep. And just for fun, what about if we wanted the frogs to be in the center of this vertical line? How can we get them in the center? Rowan?
I'm trying to remember. Is it the flex align or align items?
So now that we've switched the axis, the main axis is vertical. So to control the vertical layout, we use justify content.
Center.
Yeah. But then for fun, more fun, right? How do I get them in the very center of this box?
Align items.
Yeah. So now to control the secondary axis, in this case, the horizontal layout, we use align items center. So the meme about how hard it is to center things when you're building a website is now irrelevant with Flexbox because, yeah, it's just a few lines of code.
Someone said that yesterday about the logo.
Yeah, that it's incredibly hard to center. Yep. And Flexbox makes it trivial. So the final thing I want to do is I want like 2 here at the end, kind of spaced apart, and then 3 over at this other end. And this is going to represent, again, these frogs are just placeholders, right? So this again is going to represent like a nav bar. See how actually Google has like all these items right at the end? But as I expand, oh, nope. So they could have used Flexbox, maybe they did, I don't know, to control the layout of these items. But we're building a nav bar that looks like this. So even using Flexbox, this becomes a little bit complicated. Can anyone think why this is kind of hard?
Because you have to select for the certain emojis and then separate the other ones.
Yeah, it's because we're gonna actually use 2 different Flexboxes. Actually 3 Flexboxes. So we're gonna have this main Flexbox here, and then we're gonna have an inner Flexbox, like a left container and a right container. And that's how you're gonna build this using Flexboxes. So let's start from.
Adequate. Does that translate to like, so there's 3 divs, the first div housing the 2 groups of frogs, and then that div also being flexed to control the individual placement of the frogs.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So let's nuke all the work we've done so far and just have 1 frog on the screen. Maybe I can bring this down so we can see our goal. Yeah, just to remember what we're going for, right? And then here's ours right now. Oops. All right, you guys got the idea, right? What we're going for. So the hint is that we're going to need 3 flex boxes, but we have 1 frog already on the screen. And we can get another one. Let's actually put them all, right? Because we're going to have 5. So how can we start getting this to match this format? Does anyone have a brainstorm?
I think you want it out the div.
Create 2 divs?
You want one out the div, and then you're going to put the first 2 in 1 div inside that.
Yeah.
And the other 3 in another div.
So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put these in their own div, and then also these in their own container. Okay. That's a little bit more progress. Any other steps?
All that from line 10 to line 18 in another div.
Yep. So here's our 2 divs, but now we need this outer container. Okay.
And then we need so we'll have to call them. We'll have to give them an ID, maybe for the outer one, and maybe outer.
Sure. So let's style outer container. Yeah. Let's do outer container. Background color red, just to see what we're working with. And then something I want to talk to you guys about. You see how there's like a margin here around the red? Does anyone know what's going on there?
I
Is
think
it
it's
the
the
body?
by default property of the browser.
So there's some default styling from Chrome, the browser. So to get rid of that, we use a every selector or wildcard selector, and we put margin 0. Yeah. Okay. So we have this outer container, background color red, very nice. Yeah. Other steps.
We need to display flex.
Yeah, so we make this outer container a Flexbox, and we'll see what happens there. So now it overrode these two divs, because divs are block elements. So it means they take up naturally the whole line, and it's as if somebody like pressed enter and went to a new line. But Flexbox actually overrides that property. So now they're treated like they're inline. But now, how do I get these two boxes pushed to the ends?
So we want to give them a class, those two divs, maybe inner.
Okay. So actually, let's do an ID of left and an ID of right.
Okay, because they'd be different, yeah.
But I think we still have more work on the outer container to separate these now to the ends. I think we can do that from the outer container.
You could do justify content between.
Yeah. Actually, before I even do that, let's see what's going on by putting a background color on these different ones. Yeah. So let's do left. Let's do right. Just so we can visualize what's going on. Okay. So right now they're at flex start. But if we do what, we can get them spaced between, I think we're going to use.
Yeah, just the right content space between.
Yeah. There we go. Now we have them at the ends. And we actually didn't need to turn these two into flex boxes. Yeah, we got lucky there. I thought these two would have to be flex boxes, but it turned out they didn't. Yeah.
Could we see them stacked on top of each other
Stacked
as a way just to, like, the left can be flex, and then I think it's flex direction column.
Oh, sure. Yeah. If we make this a flex box, then we can certainly control the froggies to be vertical. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. And then let's assume we wanted like a, what is it called? Sidebar. Let's assume we were building a sidebar for a website. And then this part, yeah, we just, yeah, I guess keep like that. That's fine. Mm-hmm. All right. So that's Flexbox. Questions on that? Okay. The assignment is a little bit short today. So when you're done with it, whoops. So when you're done with froggies, give a frog emoji. So, and then I'll do the first one. Hopefully they have a frog. There we go. So click this, because when most of you are done, I'm going to introduce the project for the week so we can get a head start. So no one's bored today. Okay. Any final questions?